Hello everybody, welcome back to Art with M. Today I'm drawing myself. I wanted to make an icon that I could use across all my art social media, and I was going to do sort of stylized persona type thing like a lot of artists on YouTube and Instagram and pretty much anywhere. A lot of artists have this like stylized persona of themselves, and I realized that I don't really have a good sense of what I look like to stylize myself. So I should probably start doing a realistic image so I can understand my features and stuff better to make a stylized version in the future. So I had my boyfriend take a bunch of pictures of me at different angles, and I decided to use a profile view, and I spent a lot of time using the liquify tool to make sure I had proportions and shapes right. I really just push things around to try to understand like how small my face is, what shape my ears are, what shape my skull is, how long my neck is, which I really got wrong. I realized after the fact that I gave myself a really short neck, and I actually have a super long neck in real life, and I've had friends nickname me Giraffe because my neck is so long and thin, and yet I gave myself a kind of short, thick neck here, so oops. And I guess, again, here's an example of me getting the proportions wrong. Like, the criticism on my redraw is that I made things too thick, like made limbs too thick, made neck too thick, and even on myself I made my neck too short and thick when it is really much longer and narrower than it is made in this image. So I am definitely still trying to fix those issues with anatomy and making things sort of stockier than they are in reality. I've fixed all the errors that I could see, obviously, for the icon, and that's my icon now, but I didn't record all of that process because there was a lot of little tweaks after the fact. But yeah, here I'm just trying to get my profile right and trying to do some realism for once. It's been a while. I really enjoyed like life drawing and using just charcoal to really get values right. So I'm using like a pencil, like a perfect Kyle Webster's Perfect Pencil 2, I believe, for this whole painting, which I guess it makes it not a painting anymore. I'm using a pencil brush. I was liking the gritty texture that it kind of had from, trying to emulate graphite. So I kept with it and basically approached this painting how I would approach a charcoal drawing of a model. It just so happens the model this time was me, and I had a lot of fun rendering the hair. As you can see, I really like the end result for the hair, and I really do love rendering hair just with value and just fields of lights and darks, and then going back in with these little fine lines to emphasize that it's, hair. It's strands of hair, but you don't need to draw every strand from the beginning. You start out with these big fields of color, or of value in this case. And I started with not a pure black, it's like a dark, cool gray. And I used that to begin with just because that was the color that I had selected, but I think it was a good idea to start with not a pure black because it allowed me to go back at the end and really push the dark areas that were truly dark, like where my little twisty, I don't know what you would call my hairdo, it's like twisted up into a clip. It's not really a ponytail. It's not a bun. I don't know what it is. It's just the hairstyle I like to do a lot. Between my dark hair and my dark hairdo, there's like a very dark, almost black area, and I used a darker gray, almost pure black, to emphasize the shadows there, and put a few dark strands in my eyebrows, and a few darker strands in like the nape of my neck. Yeah, I think going with a almost dark, not really a mid-tone, but almost black, but not quite black to start with. And I wanted to work on more global values. So I gave an all-over tone to the drawing and tried to pull out highlights from that. So like the lighting for the picture was kind of coming from behind and to the side of me. So the lightest thing on me was like the very tip of my ear and a little bit on my shoulder and neck area, and then my face was mostly in shadow, not a super harsh shadow, and I do lighten it up a little bit as I'm working on it, but I think the lighting effects were pretty interesting in the original photo, and I tried to keep it as much as possible. I was trying to be as representational as possible here. So I really did enjoy making this self-portrait, so I made it my icon for everything instead of doing the stylized thing that I mentioned at the beginning. I will eventually come up with a stylized Sona type thing, but for now I'm just going to keep this for consistency and because I'm really proud of how it came out. I think it's a fairly good likeness of me, so this is as close to a face reveal as you'll get for now if you don't already know me in real life. And here's what I mentioned earlier in the voiceover about pushing those darks, because I noticed that we had a good amount of light tones and mid tones, but not enough dark values. So here I am pushing those shadows and trying to give us the full range. And I just don't really know what else to say. I feel like I've rambled about everything I wanted to ramble about. I don't know. If you'd be interested in seeing these more realistic paintings, then let me know. I know I have like 50 billion styles, and I'm not super consistent with the style I use, but I'd be interested in hearing which styles you guys want to see more of, and I'll try to like make an effort to record more of those. Goodbye everyone, see you next time.